that time with the loss of Her Majesty the Queen back in September as well. It's been a long summer, but getting now into the autumn season. Over that sort of July, August, September period, we had the F-15s and F-35 all over the place, including Greece for exercise stage, and also ace exercises, including off to RAF Rotterdam as well. We've had F-22 Raptors deployed to Lebanon, and we've also had F-16s as well for Italy coming over here, and do some activity through July through to September as well. You'll probably noticed back in August and again in September, we did some night flying, flying out here and around. That did generate a few complaints, but nowhere near the number of complaints last year when we were night flying, which really did hopefully help in some way by the fact that we did a bit of proactive messaging this year and got the information out to the community to let them know that we were going to the night flying. It seems to have helped a little bit. During that period of national mourning, when lost the Queen, just so you're all aware, we try to minimise their flying to absolutely essential flying only. Deliberately so, and in due respect to the loss of the Queen, which is really nice to see. As I said, it took me to go back down to the absolute minimum required operational requirements. Moving away from the operations side of the house, some of the things that sort of affecting us just locally at the moment, you might be aware that there's a road closure in the area as well, which is causing some difficulties with transiting between Northern Lake and forcing traffic to go to different areas. To try and mitigate the traffic flows in and out of RAF Lakenheath, the RAF Lakenheath worked with highways to change the timings on the traffic lights at gate 1, so the in and out flows are longer to allow traffic to flow better. They've also opened up gate 8, which is the contractual gate, which is normally closed for the traffic testing, but that's up to allow traffic to flow out into the 1065 as well to try and mitigate and minimise the impact whilst those road closures are in place. During August, there was a couple of exercises, exercises. We had an active shooter exercise on the station back in August, which saw the whole station go into lockdown for about a 15-minute period. We had local police forces responding to that as well, all as part of the exercise programme. We only shut the gate down, the main gate down, for 15 minutes, no more, because if you do very more than that, it causes utter chaos in the 1065. So we minimise the impact there. The station itself, the main station, locked down for a long period whilst we worked through all the processes that could be worked through with the shooter. And then just last week, so I was away on holiday for a couple of weeks in September. When I came back on Thursday last week, we had an aircraft crash exercise over at RAF Oakwell. So simulated an F-35 crash, again with local authorities on the local resilience forum from Norfolk and Suffolk involved to provide some advice about how we would deal with an F-35 crash should it happen. Finally from me tonight, conscious that we are very quickly approaching November and the period of remembrance, and there's a whole host of requests coming in for US Air Force and RAF presence at remembrance events, and we've been working on that today. We're soon to go to that programme. We're hoping that we'll be able to support a similar number of events that we did last year. I think we supported 22 events from the local area last year. Hopefully we'll be able to do some similar events this year. Any questions? That's it. Oh, one final bit from me actually. So the last meeting I attended, when we spoke about the departure routes from the 06 runway and how changes happened in the aircraft before they were grounded. Those departure routes have now changed. So as they come off the 06 runway, they are banking right, they are turning right and going around the town and not coming across the town anymore. So that change has been applied. Thank you. Any questions? That's it from me.
Any questions?
Yeah, why are the planes so noisy?
Why
are the planes so noisy?
The jet aircraft.
These are the noisiest planes what Brandon's ever had. They're even louder than the Phantoms we used to have here.
Which ones?
The F-35s.
So technically, F-35 aircraft are actually 1 decibel quieter in the F15s.
Well, I don't believe that for a
That's the
minute.
technical data.
I really do not believe that for a minute.
Okay, so all I can do is offer you facts.
Well, they don't actually say that at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. They say that on landing, the decibel reads is twice as noisy on landing and 4 times as noisy, on takeoff, and 4 times as noisy on landing.
The F-35As?
That's
the
the
F-35?
I don't know, but there's a lot published about the sound readings they've taken in Eglin.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Could you?
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
I will look into it because before, so just so everybody's aware, before the F-35s arrived here, I did that research, I got the technical data quite clearly. And we also had the sound monitoring done, the sound assessments done for the whole of the area, and actually the noise boundaries for Lakewood Heath reduced as a result of the F-35s coming here and the F-15Cs going away. So there has been a reduction in those noise boundaries. But I will,
Please do.
there's evidence there from Eglin, I will take that away and I will have a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Squadron Leader, yeah, just a comment really from my time in the Royal Air Force. I can remember English Electric Lightnings doing less than a third the length of the runway, pulling their nose vertical and going straight up out of sight and keep going up. By the time they reached low cloud cover, they'd already gone through the sound barrier. They were nowhere near as noisy as these things. And the Lightning is probably quicker than an F-35 is now.
Yeah, but it's a different type of aircraft.
It's a different type of aircraft,
yeah.
yes.
Absolutely. So with the F-35B variant, so the vertical takeoff and landing variant, they have RF absolutely is more noisy. That shows a particular approach on the hover because of the fan, all the noise projected downwards. The F-15A, all the technical data that I've seen, all the evidence that I've seen to date, says that it is quieter than the F-15B. Bearing in mind it is a single jet engine rather than a twin jet engine.
Yeah, that noise, we mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, that is a sign of freedom. And I'm just wondering whether those Ukrainian people what are being bombed out of the homes this week, I wonder if they'd complain whether there's F-35s in their airspace. Take things into proportion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions?
No, if you could just confirm, what's the difference between the 35A and the 35B?
So the F-35A is the variant that has a greater reach capability and greater payload capability, and it's a conventional takeoff and landing aircraft. A F-35B is the version of vertical takeoff and landing, so it can, yeah, it's like the old Harrier, so it's the variant that can go and land on the ships.
Right, okay.
Okay, and then what we've got at Lakewood Heath is the F-35A, not RF9.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good meeting. I'll see you again next month.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 4.
Dig into that.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 4. We've got 3 sets of minutes to approve, so we'll start with the minutes of the Brandon Town Council meeting held on Monday, the 11th of July, 2022. Quite happy with the proposed minutes. You want to vote or any comments? Yeah. Vote, okay, those in favour of the minutes? Okay, next one. The minutes for Brandon Town Council Cemetery meeting held on Monday, the 8th of August. Might be proposed. You second or comment? You need a second first. James, second. Something to propose? I'm going to propose. I'm doing second. And Councillor first.
Yeah, stand here, I left the meeting. I did actually leave the meeting. I was still in the cemetery yard. I did, when you all left the war memorial, you then went to the crematorium type plots. I did not walk round, the toilets were a little bit,
I would agree with that, he was struggling a little bit, so he didn't come all the way around, but he didn't officially leave the meeting.
and I waited at the cemetery gates for the rest of them.
There you go, you put it here, look. There.
And there was a little bit of a discussion, which isn't printed in here. Victor was having a discussion with Alison Barnes about where the cemetery gates are, either having done yellow line or keep clear. That's not limited in here.
We recorded it all, didn't we?
Was that done after the meeting was finished?
Was it or
I
not?
think that might have been after the meeting was finished.
Was
wasn't it?
Was it after, was it?
I've got a suspicion, because that's, we talked about it on the road, didn't we?
Yeah, I think that was after the meeting was
Okay,
finished.
fair enough.
To be honest.
Oh.
Okay, right, we'll move to the vote then. So those in favour of those minutes? Anybody against?
Oh, right. I've got two abstentions.
Phil,
Abstentions?
you were the abstention?
I wasn't there.
No. And David wasn't there.
Yeah, I've got three, so,
Okay,
no.
right, the last one, so Brandon Town Council meeting held on Monday, the 12th of September.
I'll propose to.
I'll second. Okay. We can just vote for that, there's a lot to talk about on those in favour. Okay. Abstentions, against? Rob, are you doing any, which one? Abstaining?
No, wait a minute.
You vote yes, all
Wait a minute.
right. Okay. Item number 5, matters arising from the exchange early from the full council meeting on the 11th of July, 8th of August and the 12th of September. Any matters arising?
Right. In the public forum, number 8,
Which month we on about?
11th of July. Yeah, 11th of July. Councillor Palmer raised the issue of the availability of broadcasting ground. It appears that one doctor surgery has one service at this time and one is unavailable. Is there anything going to be happening regarding that? If you find?
You can bring that up under.
No, that's to my update, no. Oh, right, okay. Because I've been taking people to Millville and various measurements for this process thing.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
been
it's
covered under.
On the report.
Okay.
Okay. Right, we'll move on. Okay, item number 6, urgent business. Any item the chairman considers a matter of urgent business. I've got 2 to add on. We'll do the one on your, should have been on the desk on everybody's pack. There is a piece of paper from Start Traffic Limited. Got that? No, not this bit. Graham, hopefully you're going to explain what this is all about and what we've got to do with it.
Right. This is for equipment that has been brought to light that we are lacking in, primarily for the Remembrance Day and for Christmas works that we'll be doing. It's not just for those, it is for there on and thereafter, anything that we need to do in the way of traffic or pedestrian management. Our equipment does not stand up to the standards that we require. So we have purchased, or in the process of purchasing from this company, the equipment that we need to do the job.
So this is for a vote to approve this payment, isn't it? Because it obviously is needed for the Remembrance Day and that is before our next meeting. So I'll actually propose and vote. I'll second that. Okay, we'll move to a vote then. Those in favour of purchasing this equipment?
Thank you,
Unanimous?
ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. The next item I have, I'm going to pass over to the very capable hands of Councillor Brabs. Planning.
This is,
Sorry,
can we,
David's going to just leave the room again. Because David's on the planning district, he just has to leave the room for this. Can't take part in this session. So he's going to leave for a few minutes.
Right, basically, we have got a resubmission reference, for want of a better word, Wrexham Bingo and Social Club, which I refer to as the bingo site in future. Other than that mouthful. We can do this one of two ways. I am quite happy to have comments from anybody that wishes to express a comment on the plan as given. Is there anybody that's got a comment?
Oh, yeah, you're fine with me. Yeah. Take your lead from Councillor Brabs.
I think, as Councillor Brabs is chair of planning, I think he should lead,
Yeah, he's quite happy to lead this, yeah.
lead on the application.
Right. You've all got that plan somewhere in your pack, I hope. Right. That is the relevant point to me. The internal design and how the height of the houses and all that, I've sort of left to West Suffolk because I don't know the rules and regulations on room sizes, height, size of gardens and all the rest of them. But if we look at the layout of this, we have parking spaces 17 and 18 that reverse across the new footpath, cycleway, whatever you like to call it. For want of a better word, to most people we call it the back track. But their cars will reverse onto there. They will then travel towards the avenue and turn left and enter the site. Now, when they come in, they're going to drive through the site onto the new tarmac path that Victor had laid and then turn right into the car parking spaces. Whereas I concede that the land at the back is owned by the person that is developing, but I put it to you that this is an accident waiting to happen. People, whether they should or shouldn't, is neither here nor there, but they actually do cycle down that piece of new tarmac path. With the new change in the law, pedestrians have priority. So if a car comes out of there, they're going to have to wait till, they're going to have to get out of the way till the pedestrians have passed. I can see it being a danger. The actual car parking spaces 17 and 18 are a lot lower than the footpath, so they're going to come up a hill to get out and turn at the same time. I propose, personally, that if the tree wasn't planted and there was some configuration of the car park inside the development area, I don't think they'd have a need to come onto the back track. I don't think in any way it will hurt the builder. He's not going to lose anything. And if I had my way, which obviously I won't, but I would like to see a fence go right across the bottom of the site. Because as it stands now, if there was an obstruction on the exit onto the London Road, every one of those cars can drive through the site and exit into the top of Golson Lane, where the entrance to the orchard is. Has anybody else got any views?
Well, just to say that I believe along with pedestrians now having priority, I think bicycles have too.
They have.
So although it is a footpath, people do cycle up and down there. And anybody pulling out, they've got the length of the bonnet out probably before they can even see. There's somebody pedaling down there on their bike. It's the recipe for disaster. It really is. It seems it would take such a small change in the layout to take out that tree, just move those parking spaces, which are sort of between the trees, down a little bit, and you've got a car's width to get out there without going on to the footway. I think that would be an easy and, from their point of view, cheap way to solve the problem. But if nobody points this out to West Suffolk, it's unlikely, I would have thought, that they will notice that. It needs pointing out, and if it means refusal until they've got that sorted out, then that's the way I would go. Because if you pass it with a condition, they'll ignore the condition. They'll just say, yeah, approved. I think we've really got to take a firm line on that, because that is going to be dangerous.
Okay.
I agree. Also, it is noticeable that when they come out of the Church Institute, there's a bank at the orchard with the hedge on top. And I can see that disappearing because his actual line, which he famously owns, I reckon that's nearly the hedge line. And, you know, they can't take that bank away. And it's a hell of a high, a slope up from the actual site up onto that, which is officially a bridle path with certain properties have got a emergency vehicle access, as I believe it, but it is essentially a bridle path.
Well, I think those properties you're referring to are very close to the avenue, and they, actual fact, it was the note oil man that had the right to go down there. That's where the right came from.
It's still in existence. I
Oh,
think.
yeah. It's on the deeds.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've also got here to debate the development because it's changed the roof line on some of the houses there, and I think it's safe to say, me personally, I'm happy with the development. So we've got an anomaly with the back track and 2 parking bays. I will vote to support the planning application on the condition that they resolve the anomaly with the parking. Now, the landowner owns the back track, so what you're telling him is he can't go on his land, but the Church Institute and the 2 houses down the avenue can go on his land. So that developer might think he's slightly hard done by. He can't go on his land, but people who don't own his land are permitted to go on it. Now that is a bigger anomaly in my opinion, and as I said, I personally will vote to support this, get the place developed. It's been an eyesore for 25 years, and let West Suffolk or Highways resolve the turning bay on 2 dwellings.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I strongly object to this. Excuse me. Agree with it, and then let them sort it out. It doesn't work like that, councillor.
Go on, mate.
Well, sort of. I agree with both Victor and yourselves, but at the end of the day, I think there is going to be a bigger problem with, has anyone from this council on planning actually gone to the management or the landowner and spoke with them in relation to that? No. So I think that...
I personally haven't.
No, well, if the planning committee actually goes and speaks to him and actually gets more detail, instead of sitting here looking at the drawing, I think that would be... And I'm not being funny, like Victor says, if you're going to allow the Church Institute to have access, and then not his dwellings, that's
The Church Institute isn't domestic.
Whether he's got access or not, I think they drive over this side anyway. You cross a public footpath off of London Road to gain access to the Church Institute. So it's really neither there or then, is it, with the difference at the back there, with them pulling out. Now, I think personally, and quite frankly, as I well know when I sat on planning, West Suffolk have the overall say. So what you agree or not agree, there's someone at West Suffolk is going to change, make their mind up. So.
Well,
Thank you, Chair of the Planning Committee. I wholeheartedly support this building proceeding. It's high time that our bond site in Brandon was developed for much needed housing. The anomaly over the back track, I think, has existed for about at least the last 120 odd years. From my deeds, I have vehicular right of way down the road. The road no longer exists. All that remains is the footpath, which always was and always has been a footpath. It's never been a bridleway and it's never been a road. The road come bridleway where the night soil man went has long since been accommodated into where my garage is, the bottom of my garden, the top end of the, or the bottom end of the bingo hall site, the end of the church hall, and indeed the end of the gardens of the two cottages down. So the actual roadway bit has long since gone. What we're left is with a footpath that actually belongs to the gentleman developing the site. All he's using is a small part of it with very, very adequate signs as a turning area. Now that's causing problems around this table. It's easy for us to say we approve that building proposition on the proviso that that is changed, the tree goes, and instead of sitting north-south, the car park sit east-west. Job done. And I can assure one councillor Etherington that West Suffolk will take that into consideration. So I would propose that we go ahead with it as is, with the proviso that that is slightly altered, and then we can get rid of that eyesore and provide 8 houses for much needed houses for the Brandon area.
no,
Well, I say, I have no problem with the rest of it, but I'm not sure. I mean, there are so many drawings that go with this. It's a hell of a document. I'm just not sure that they will scrutinise it closely enough even to see what we're getting at. It's not very easy to interpret.
Chairman of the plan, for a moment. If you look through your agenda packs, the developer has given us an assurance that the residents in that new development will not travel along the track. He is prepared to put marks on the track. He's prepared to put a no entry signs as well. And no entry signs work. I know they work. You've got no entry signs in George Street. Nobody goes up there the wrong way. You've got no entry signs in White Hart Lane. Nobody goes up there. You've got and it'll be written in the deeds of each of those properties. They are not to use the back track. Thank you, Mr. Chairman of Planning.
Well, including then parking bays 17 and 18. You believe they will not go out onto the track from there to turn left and come out?
They won't come
They
out.
can't.
They've got to come out on Colson Lane.
Sorry, Chair, but if I have been assured by the contractor and by his architect that it will be written into the deeds of those houses that nobody is to come out in Colson Lane.
Well, no, Coulson Lane, no. But we're talking about the bit between parking bays 17 and 18 and the side way through there. That's the bit they'll be using. They'll turn left out of their parking bays and then left again down there. And I'm not sure. I mean, it takes a lot of looking at to get there if you come to us from Cold. They will be using part of that track. And there will be pedestrians and cyclists, and they'll be going up a slope and giving a bit of welly.
We have the same anomaly now with the Church Institute
Yes.
using that track and just pulling out. And I have witnessed and I have even been forced up onto the bank, either by my back wall or the bank the other side and among the bushes, because they will not stop.
So have I, over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But the fact is,
So
that two wrongs don't make a
that
right.
anomaly already exists.
Two wrongs don't make a right. You're just compounding it.
Well, no, I mention it because people are aware of it and make allowance. So it's not going to be an accident waiting to happen. And it's 2 cars. I mean, how many cars can come in and out of the church hall at any one time if they've got to do on? Anything up to 30 cars could come out.
Yeah, but not
way.
many, because it's difficult getting out of there. It's actually quite difficult getting out of there and round to turn right, so not many, I would guess.
Well, I live there and I've seen them do it.
Well, you see, if you do it, it's not many.
Right, does somebody want to put a proposal? Sorry, Penny.
I just want to know, what is there apart from a sign on the ground and one on a pole? I don't believe that will prevent people turning the other way and going out onto Coulston Lane.
But it is on their lease and they would be, not lease, deeds.
It won't, sir.
So that would be enforceable at law.
And as I said earlier,
No,
works
it
in
It won't be.
It isn't.
works in White Hart Valley.
It's not, you won't get law enforcing that.
Can't you just ask the developer to put a fence at the back of those properties?
I wish.
Can't you make that stipulation? Oh, better sort that out.
I think if he approached West Suffolk Council Planning, that might be put to him. That's why I say we should move this on, vote for development on the condition that the anomaly is ironed out. We've looked at that site, it's a bomb site for the last 25 years. We had an opportunity to build 8 houses for the needy. There's 460 people on the housing list in Brandon, right? And we're doing nothing about it. There's hardly any building in Brandon as we speak.
Are these affordable then?
Yeah.
Are these affordable housing?
Is it such way?
If you can get a,
Well, is there such a thing in today's world?
if you can get a mortgage as well?
Yeah. So, calling any house affordable is pointless.
They're not anywhere near affordable. No.
Chair.
Yeah.
May I propose that we approve this site and put a note on it as a proviso that those 2 parking spaces are addressed and that anomaly is ironed out by West Suffolk and highways.
No.
What do you mean?
I
No,
suggest-
I said I propose.
Yes. I'm just,
So I'm now waiting for somebody to.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
2 lots beating this one.
Go on.
I propose that we refuse it until such time as they resolve that.
Kind of two proposals.
No, we'll
Well,
vote for that one.
Bill's proposed first. We've got to vote.
All right, well, can we vote on Phil, please?
Can't you sort of say what I've just said as well? If they put a fence there, with your proposal?
I mean, Brian can put that as a condition.
Well-
I think that would be the sensible thing.
Communication to West Suffolk.
If they put a fence
Nobody
there,
in this room is actually the houses.
No.
All they're thinking about is the
Okay,
safety
so-
in the alleyway.
whoa. If they put a fence there, then bays 17 and 18 won't be able to get out at all. Because they can't come out across bays 12, 11 and 10, because there'll be cars parked in there much of the time. If you put a fence there, they won't be able to get out of 17
Not
and 18.
without reconfiguring the car park.
Quite. Remove the tree and move the left-hand ones down a metre, And you've done it, easy, cheap
All
and
hinges
quick.
on removing a tree, I'm sure the developer will move the tree.
There isn't a tree there.
There's not a tree there, but there's,
On the plan.
yeah.
Right, can we vote on this one, please?
Yeah, obviously it's far away.
Right, can we vote on Phil's proposal, please?
So it is.
The proposal is that we approve the construction of the site and the houses, provided the parking anomaly for, what's it, 17 and 18 is ironed out. Whether that includes fences or removing trees that aren't there, whatever. I think it's a proposed tree thing.
Yes,
It is.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'll let Bob leave that one.
Yes, please. Right. I can't see from here. Three.
Four.
Those against, please.
Hang on. Sorry, I can't see your hand.
1, 2, 3.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
7. 1, 2.
And what put proposal now? Can you put proposal now?
Go on, you do it.
No, another one. Can you put another one?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna refuse it, we give a reason to refuse it. And that is because of the parking bays 17 and 18 emptying onto the footpath.
Okay, that's fine.
We need another proposal.
No, you don't.
No,
Can't do that. You just need to put-
We've refused, and we've refused for the reason which has just
Vote
been
to
stated.
refuse, but you've just got to put a comment.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that concludes our business. Okay, move on to item number 8, which is the public forum. So I'll just. Oh, yeah, written report, sorry, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Item number 7, to receive a written report from the clerk, which we should all have. So, okay.
Hang on.
You want councillor Palmer back?
Oh, yes, good point. Councillor Palmer.
If you must.
David!
well, how is he going to judge the people's opinion if he doesn't, isn't here?
He's going to get with that comment. So he can't ignore that, can he? He wouldn't talk to me about it. He's not listening. He won't listen to anybody. But he says that'll make him predetermined. As long as he doesn't open his mouth,
Put a lip on it.
bloody stupid.
Put Velcro on
I
it.
think it's rather cowardly, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, back, yeah, not recently, yeah.
What do you mean? Anyway, your report,
It was on,
anyway, your report,
You're gonna have a
yes,
word.
that I read a couple of months ago, we haven't really had it on the meeting.
Sorry?
So
Are you going to get that word on?
it's stated in there quite clearly that there is no bus service to Stanton Down. Whereas the
Can you read? Can you read this, Penny? Can you read this?
That biscuit.
It's very difficult to read.
The timing, the last one is,
I
I
didn't
think
eat the biscuit.
about 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't get another one till 4 o'clock.
That's it.
They're more frequent than that.
That's
There are-
it.
You said
It's
that-
very infrequent.
Okay. So, item number 7, the town.
Sorry. In this report that you did with the buses, you know,
Hey, boy,
you're
Ben.
speaking to people.
Hey, boy,
Did
Ben.
they mention to you that there's going to be a stage in bus fares for January, February and March? That all bus journeys in those 3 months, any bus journey for people, it will be the maximum of £2
No,
journey? They didn't mention that?
no.
What was the point of the meeting then, I'm afraid? You know, what actually come out of it?
Well, it was there to inform people of what they're doing,
Yeah.
to be able to raise points, which I did. But they, there was no mention of that feature coming through from, those that were holding the meeting.
The last bus for the 201 is 6 o'clock from Mildenhall, it's taken down until 6:35. Well, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so item number 8, public forum. So I'll propose that we suspend the standing orders for this part of the meeting.
I propose it.
Yeah, 1 second. We just need to vote on that.
Yes, I would, no, I'm not
No,
voting,
no,
I want to be,
can't do
I
that
want to be
yet.
vocal in the public forum bit, please.
Okay, so we'll we start off with district and then we'll come to the public, yeah?
Yeah.
County and district, yeah? Can we go county first?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, my county report will be brief. I managed to put a dog bin and a waste bin down at the Riverside Walk at the Ram now. It's had complaints about the litter down there, and it's been well received. And I'd like to thank those people who commented on the forum for their kind words. Point 2, Mr. Chairman, the infamous drain cover at the Great Eastern has been done. In fact, I've managed to get Network Rail to do that, and not Highways. That was a battle, that particular drain cover. I'd like to point out that at this moment in time, there is not a drain cover loose in the High Street, and that's probably the first time in living memory. But that's taken a considerable amount of communication between me and the Highways. And finally, Mr. Chairman, I have requested double yellow lines on the Ferry Road on the precarious bend there, so I'm hopeful that will be done through locality funding, so that may pacify one or two of our town councils. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you've got anything to add for the district?
I've got nothing on the district because I do believe my two colleagues here will be commenting on the district.
Okay, who wants to go first now, district?
Right. Please feel free to interrupt me, anybody doing that. The following work has been reported to Samphire Home Trust, which were formerly flagship housing. Possible abandoned car in Berry Road, that is a residential parking area. Okay, so that's been reported to them and being dealt with by them. Damaged wall caused by car crashing into down Berry Road. This has been down about 3-4 months ago and it's still not been repaired, so I'm chasing that one up. Grass growing on residential roads, paths, tree debris on paths and roads, overhanging trees on pathways, possible abandoned trail on grass verge. This is in Warren Close area of Bangor. Okay,
That's,
and we report.
that's connected with the wall being knocked down in Berry Road.
No, it's not. It's not well away from that. This is that I reported this to Samphire Homes at the request of our town clerk. This has been dealt with at the moment.
There was 2 cars that went along Berry Road.
Yeah, that's further down. It's further down, Warren Close. Not that end of Warren Close, it's the far end. Yeah, I know what you mean. New skate park. The outline and detailed plans for this new park had been put on hold awaiting a flood risk assessment. The skate park committee have been informed that this problem has now been resolved, so the planning application is no longer on hold. Okay, now to answer your question that you brought up earlier. Peter? The Forest Survey that serves some 7,500 people in Brandon and the surrounding areas are an average advisor through a botany service for the people that are registered with this practice. The majority of the patients registered with the surgery have to attend Mildenhall Hub, Berry Hospital,
a Newmarket Hospital to have a blood test. I followed this up with the Swan Group that manages surgery and also followed up with PAC, PALS and the Suffolk Health Authority. To date, I have failed to get this problem resolved. I am now taking this up at government level. I will keep this council updated on its progress. Final item, street lighting costs to Brandon Town Council. So I've been talking to Clark about this today. As members will be aware, we have a rate parity across the whole of West Suffolk Council area. However, the former Forest Heath area still pays for the maintenance and running costs of the street lights. In Brandon's case, that's 551 lights. While the former St Edmundsbury area pays little or none of those costs. Hopefully this will be resolved in the coming months. A senior director of West Suffolk Council is currently collating all information about this, and he intends to present this to West Suffolk Council Cabinet in November. I will request to attend this meeting along with a council member for Milton Hall, who will be representing Milton Hall. I may have a further report on that at the next council meeting. It depends if I've had the cabinet meeting or not. Okay? If anybody's got any questions like to ask me, I will try and answer them.
Well, logically, why can't the person who takes the blood test at the high street doctors, can't they do that for 3 days there and go up and do 3 days at the Berry Road doctors? That's the simple way.
Right.
Because I've been taking people to Newmarket, Millville and Berry Sledges for the same thing.
The forest surgery is part of the Swan Group practice. It's linked to Berry St Edmunds. So, as far as I know, one on the High Street is a Norfolk-based practice based at Thetford. So one's got to talk to the other. Okay, so that's the reason. I've got 3 people up at the High Street at the moment in Thames Road, and I think they've probably only got 1, possibly 2 at our surgery here. But I am following it up. I can assure you I'm following it up, and I've taken action and written a letter this week, right, to the right persons, and I'll give you a further report on this because I'm going to see this through to the bitter end and get this problem resolved.
It seems quite ridiculous that one doctor can do it and one doctor can't.
Yes, I'm going to get this resolved.
Because a lot of people I know have to get a taxi just to go and get a blood test.
There's lots of reasons, there's a lot of inconvenience and expense for a lot of people in London, and I do realise this, and it's all been put in the letter, right? The public official, and I'm going to follow this up.
Can I ask Victor a question? I missed it. How many news on the drop curb?
I haven't had any bad news on it. And that, there was a batch of requests went in, which included that, the yellow lines in front of the cinema, the yellow lines on the Ferry Road, and I'm hoping it will take time, but I'm hopeful. When they flash it up again, I will make that a priority.
Thank you.
And I promise you I will, because that is a mobility issue which I am passionate about.
Mr. Weekman was on at the
And
end.
to think that there's no access there for those elderly people in those sheltered homes there is ridiculous. So be patient, Penny. I'll do my best.
I will try.
And as regards to the phlebotomist, I think I pronounced that right. That's the man or woman who takes blood. I've only just recently, over the last 3 or 4 months, realised that. I've attacked this issue at county level. I went to the clinical commissioning group, not once, but twice, and as yet, I have not had a response back. So, I can't say any more than that. You can't force people to reply to an email. I'm not aware of that. But I think I'm the same as Councillor Palmer here. We're doing our best. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I'll let you add that I've been to them as well, and I did get a reply in the end. So difficult.
Councillor Whittle, you've got your report.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, several things now. I'll just comment on the phlebotomist issue. Having been one, when I was a qualified nurse, I was also a qualified phlebotomist. But the problem with doctors' surgeries and doctors' practices is that they are private businesses. And it is whether those private businesses deem it necessary to employ another member of staff for bloodletting, or whether they find it more prudent to send them to the West Suffolk Hospital or to Newmarket or to the Liverpool Hub. You will find that they will make it on a business decision basis, not paying too much attention to anybody else, in my experience. Having said that, I will move on to my district report, which this week I attended a training session so that I could become up to speed on the Elections Act 2022, which will come into effect next year, the election year. And this act will require voters in Great Britain to show a photo ID at the polling booth before being issued with a ballot paper. And that is in UK parliamentary elections, local council elections in England, and police and crime commissioner elections in England and Wales. They're still working on the types of ID to be allowed, but a photographic driving licence, biometric immigration documents and passports are known to be available. It is estimated that about 98% of the population do have some form of photographic identification, because if you turn up at the polling station this coming May, next May, without, you will not be issued with your polling card.
What about the 2%?
I'm just moving on to that. They have the option of contacting the council and will be issued with the necessary documentation, provided they have other forms of identification that the council can verify over a period. So this is why I'm bringing it up now, long before the elections, so that those 2% get the opportunity and the help to be able to get their right to vote by being issued with a ticket from the council, basically, to say, I am.
What about postal?
What about postal?
Postal votes will be verified in a different way. I believe that currently you have to re-sign for your postal vote every 5 years. I'm not sure of the period that it's being reduced, and there's further proof of you are who you say you are before it will be issued as a postal vote. But I will be getting much more information through from West Suffolk on this act and how they're implementing it. I will disseminate that between now and next election.
But haven't we just received the voting to make sure that?
The electoral roll.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the electoral roll, so that you are on the electoral roll.
You did not say nothing about what you just said.
Well, no, you didn't. I agree.
So when did you learn of this?
Well, it was passed in, it's the, right, in February of 2022, the government released a policy paper, and it is now come into law, which is the 2022 Elections Act.
Yeah, you say 98% have photographic. But there's a lot of foreigners in this country that won't have any photographic identity.
There's a lot of foreigners in this country that won't be able to vote because they won't be eligible to vote.
And bring out all these rules, it sounds as though we're a third world country.
No, what it's to do with, Peter, is to avoid what's called personalisation, where somebody goes to a polling booth and pretends to be Peter Ridgewell and steals your phone.
Don't you dare.
It stops it in communities, and I'm not going to try to be racist, but communities where wives traditionally would not be voting or taking any part in any part of society without their husbands walking 2 paces ahead of them. And it's to stop those communities stealing the wives' votes. It's all down to,
A lot of people just won't vote.
Work.
well, if that's the case,
That's what it is.
if that's the case, Peter, if you've got a driving licence and I ain't going to follow the code, well, then that's up to you. That's your choice.
If no one
All I'm doing, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing on what is government legislation. And it's obviously news to you, but you hadn't heard it before, and I guess to several other people as well.
No. It's progress.
It's progress. But I will keep you informed as things come out. That's that one. I would like to move to our website and I note that there are 7 councillors without a photo on the website and without a phone number, which would be very nice if they were to provide to Jackie, sorry, mine, and get up there, because that is how the electorate and the voters in Brandon can contact you. So having said that, if you could do that, please. And finally, and this again will pertain to the election when it comes round, but I understand, am I correct, Chair, that the live feed still goes out on your Facebook page?
Not on mine, it goes on the council one.
So the council have a Facebook page, do they?
Yes.
Yeah, and it goes out on that.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to check. And is it also available on our website?
Yes.
It will
So
be,
we
yes.
can look back over various meetings?
He's nodding, so I assume it must be.
Yes, good, good.
Well, tonight's one will be on at some stage
Right,
this week.
so that will probably advise a lot of people that I didn't know, I'm sure a lot of other people didn't know, but it is.
I think we could probably put something on the website for that.
I
date.
think-
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
give us the relevant information.
We were warned to have a look and see, so we knew it was up.
Yeah. So, Kat, and just one more time, can those 7... Have I run out of time? Is that the time?
No, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah. So those 7 councillors do put their names and faces onto the website so that members of the public can contact you, please. That would probably take slight pressure off of those that already have their names and faces up there. Thank you.
Don't we still have the list of councillors on the notice board outside? Yes. For people to contact? Yes. All right.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple of things, I won't take up too much time. I attended a meeting set up by our town clerk with Sergeant Steve Wright, policing, and Laura from Salk. It was all in relation to speeding and certain aspects of speeding. Thank you, Graham, for that. I appreciate that. I learned quite a bit through the meeting. The police are stretched even further than I thought. We've had apparently the district councillors here and county councillor can inform me as well. We've had 12 new ANPR cameras issued. Brandon will probably never see one of those. We did have 2 the other day at Elton. I see them operating. I found out that if you want to set up your own little speeding thing, you need 6 people to start it, just like we can already have one. There was a number of things that they said 32 deaths in 2017, and then 5 years after that there was 20. Someone then went on in the meeting to say there's COVID come into that, and they said, well, yeah, it had to. So not much of a decrease. And he went on basically going on. There's a load of information that I can pass on in relation to it. I like to hear that Victor said about the double yellows, the Berry Road and all the other roads. So London Road, Berry Road, Thetford Road are main problems for Brandon. They really are. It's nice to see. to the district council as well, the hedge on Berry Road, on that bend, that needs to be addressed quite urgently. 2 accidents nearly see the other day in relation to that. And the other thing I'd like to say is the website and Facebook for the council's looking pretty good. I think that's looking good. We're being active on there. I like to see that. It's cool. That's all. Thank you.
Phil wants to go first.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Councillor Chair. I was informed today by the police and by West Suffolk that there was a car meet on Wimbledon Avenue in Brandon on Saturday night. And there were persons there appeared to be causing antisocial behaviour through the manner of their driving on the street. There was a reasonable turnout, apparently, and there were many persons present as the cars were doing wheel spins and led to the police being called out. There was also a scary moment when somebody in a van apparently tried to drive at people, and that was recorded on social media, and as far as I'm aware, that is being investigated by the police. A result of this incident is probably going to help you, Clarkie. The police will be stepping up their patrols in and around Brandon at hot times for car meets and what have you. It's also, and I would say, and if it goes out on the council website too, incumbent upon the parents of some of these people to stop their offspring from doing these reckless things. So it's not just down to the police all the time or other people. People in society should take responsibility too and keep their offspring, or if they're doing it themselves, grow up and not do these things that put others at risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to go back, Cog, regarding Councillor Whiteman's report, if anybody's wondering what ANPR cameras means, that's automatic number plate recognition cameras. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is actually for Councillor Cannock. During that meeting, it was brought to my attention that Suffolk County councillors have the budget. They have highway budget and locality budget for speed cameras, SIDS. Now, if I recall right, we did have speed cameras in Brandon once upon a time, and we did have some SIDS that document, actually take data and store that data of how many cars have sped come through. How can we have them removed, and how come we haven't got any more? And is that something you'd be willing to look into, Councillor?
What I am given and what is the cost of some of these gadgets is an enormous gap, I can assure you of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The other councillors, the county councillors of Clare, have funded all of their towns and villages.
Talk to you during the week.
Lovely.
Okay, now is that all the count? Okay.
It's just for information.
Okay.
About the street lights,
Okay.
St Benedict's, the one opposite St David's, 2 weeks ago, they put in a new column alongside the old one, and opposite St Francis, they've done the same there. They've put a new column alongside the old one, got the barriers around, that's 2 weeks ago. Just a column. So the trouble with electric people, it's some lot come and dig a hole, another lot come and put a pole in, another lot will come and remove the old one, another lot will come and put a head on. That's how it all is. But anyway, we've got the poles there in St Benedict's, so some sits and happening.
Okay, we'll now move, as been waiting very patiently all night, to other members of the public. Who would like to go first?
Better wake up.
Thanks, right. Brenda Johnston on behalf of the Brandon Remembrance Playing Field Committee. We have what I regard as being a serious issue at the moment with dog control and fouling. There have been several incidents, and they're becoming more frequently, of people letting dogs off leads and they are jumping up at people. People are getting bitten, some more seriously than others. Now, we want the playing field to be for the benefit of the whole community, and we don't want to say to people, do not bring your dogs on the playing field, because that's not what it's about. We have had some temporary signs made that go up during the day saying, please keep your dog on a lead, please don't let your dog foul on the football pitches and things like that, because that's antisocial and everything. But it's down to a question of what authority do we have and what can we do, because the majority of people have actually conformed and do keep their dog on a lead, but there's the odd few that don't. And as far as they're concerned, I'm here, I'm walking my dog, and I'm still going to do it, and I don't care what you say. So we're at a loss as what to do. One thing that I am aware of is that signage, permanent signage, is not, in my view, really adequate. And we would like to put some more signs up at all of the entrances onto the playing field, not just, you know, on the one entrance where it's obvious, which means that the signs will probably go outside of our boundary, only by a sort of few inches or so, or something like that. But would the council have any problems if we put any more signs up that are outside our boundary line, saying, please keep your dogs under control, what have you? We can't put anything on it like you will be fined £1,000 or, you know, sort of what have you, because we've got no authority to enforce it. I was hoping that the police were going to be here tonight, but as there aren't, there's not a lot I can do about it. I have been in touch with West Suffolk about the fouling issue, and I'm waiting for them to come back to me so we can talk about putting extra bins on the playing field rather than just at the entrance, which might encourage people to use them a bit more. So basically that's it, short and sweet.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it is a very serious problem, and I can see your concern in it. The problem with fouling, I think, often comes from those that do let their dogs run free,
yeah,
and don't actually see where they poo. And whether you would go down the route of naming and shaming those people or not, I don't know, or whether that's ethically right or wrong to do. I work my dogs regularly in there, as everybody knows, and they are always now on their leads.
Yeah, thank you.
And
but the problem is we haven't got the staff, because apart from one groundsman, everybody is a volunteer to actually police.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that people are doing that.
What I could do is take it up at district level to see, because I mean it is an offence to foul for dog fouling.
Yeah.
But how it's addressed is another matter.
Yeah.
I do know in other council areas they even went to the length of DNA testing of poo to prove that yes, that did come from your dog. Now you're in. And it happened. But I think in these austere times and the costs of DNA testing, it's probably gone by the wayside.
They did try and do that in my village. That was, I live outside Brandon, and that was mooted at the council, but it was laughed down because it was, okay, you can get DNA from the poo, but how then do you find the dog to get the DNA from?
Yeah, yeah.
It was reported last week that the council are going to start taking away the poo bins. So how is that going to affect the whole area?
No, that's incorrect. The waste has now been designated. It can go in ordinary waste bins. So what they're doing is they're not putting in dog waste bins.
they're expected to use the ordinary waste bins.
So they're not taking the poo bins out? Is that what you're saying?
When they're not being replaced,
Well, they may well be taking out the dedicated dog bins, but it's now quite permissible to put them in any public waste bin because they've declassified it as hazardous waste.
Perhaps Roy could put what that young lady just said about, the dogs, pulling it in the back of the line. A bit more common.
Thank you, Roy.
I was just looking on here under the Dangerous Dogs Act, and it clearly states on gov.co.uk it's against the law if your dog shows any threatening behaviour, as in it's intimidating.
I'm aware of that, but how do you deal with it?
Any volunteer can kindly alliterate that to anyone
Yeah,
and say your dog must be on the lead, otherwise there is possibly a criminal offence taking place.
yeah.
So any volunteer can say that, and you can display signs saying that legally.
We have done that on numerous occasions. Even the councillor David Palmer and I were down there. The lady let a dog out of the car, the dog ran off, and she came back 2 minutes later. She had to pick a poo bag out of a car. She never had one on her.
Right.
She didn't have a poo bag. She had to get a Tesco's recyclable shopping bag. So she was taking the dog for a walk without a poo bag. What would she have done if we hadn't been there? And when we politely said to her, your dog needs to go on the lead, we was told where to go, more or less.
Yeah, I can believe that. And
Until David went
unfortunately,
straight
unless
to
you
it.
can man it and enforce it, you really just.
Yeah.
The police aren't going to do it.
That's
We
the
know that the
problem,
police
that's
are
the
very
problem
busy.
that we have, is we cannot man it, and, you know, we don't have enough people to do that. Not for the size of the area.
I
and the
don't think there's
different-
anything else the council can do
different-
unless there's more people in relation there
Mm.
to enforce the matter.
It got worse after foot and mouth. Everybody used to take the dogs in the woods. Now, well, we're taking back down the playing field, we're taking down the playing fields.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't take them in the woods, they took them down the playing field. Oh, I can park down there and let the dog off.
No, I'm with you on this. I totally agree
Yeah.
with dogs off the lead, and I have dogs and I train dogs. So, and I believe that if you went to any court and you've got a dog that's bit someone, it doesn't take a good solicitor to prosecute you for it. You've got no control over a dog, whether its recall's great or not. You should have a dog on the lead, especially in a public place. So, unfortunately, I think the only thing you can do there is get extra volunteers and more signs and possibly CCTV.
Yes, I'd like to comment on what's just been talked about, but I also have another one. How I understand it is, I think the law states when you take your dog for a walk, you are supposed to carry a bag with you, and you can be fined if you don't have one by either a dog warden or the police. I mean, we have the same problem in the Wellington Close area. I mean, where the old community hall used to be, that is now a regular site. People come from all round the area, in that area, and a lot of the dogs are let loose, and they go up the back there, you see them come back, and, you know, we know what that, I mean, I won't walk my dog through there now because of what has been left. I mean, and, you know, I mean, all right, my dog, if she wants to go, she goes in my yard and nowhere else, and I clear it up myself. But, I mean, it needs to be looked at, because dogs are being let loose, dogs are biting people. It's just been another session, someone has just died up in the north with some dogs again. I mean, it is, since the pandemic, seems everybody's bought a dog.
It's got worse.
And it's got worse, but, you know, it does need looking at. And also to the clerk, if I may, I did request if we could have the police here.
yes,
What happened?
they were requested, and we've not heard anything back from them.
Can this be changed?
Yes.
I mean, in regards to Councillor Whitman, you know, we do have a bad speeding problem in Brandon.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've mentioned it to them today.
yes, it needs looking at, I mean, especially Thetford Road. I mean, it's just like a horrendous racetrack at the moment. And also, these electric scooters, they are totally illegal at the moment unless sponsored by a company that has permission to use them. You have to have a driving licence to ride one, or a provisional driving licence, and there's one or two running about this town, and there's also, we were talking about, as Councillor Cannick said, people need to, the mums and dads need to look after their young. Well, when you see some of the mums, especially there's one about here, coming up through Victoria Avenue with one of them electric scooters, and the child standing on the front as well, that's a good advert, that, isn't it? I mean, and, you know, they are illegal, and they haven't been given the go-ahead only in certain places where companies have got them, and, you know, as you said, it's not very often we see police in Brandon now for some reason or other. I mean, but we do pay our taxes, etc., so in the budgets, I mean, they are accounted for, and surely we should get some support from somewhere.
Unfortunately, I met PC Yates the other day, and he is covering a large area on his own.
Oh yeah,
a large area. He's a local lad as well. He lives in Thetford, works for Suffolk Constabulary, and he popped round mine, let's just say, nearly close to midnight, and that was in relation to something else on the chat, and he's on his own. So, and that's how I even pointed to the chairman that the police down here. I actually entered the police building. I actually sent a copy to yourself, didn't I, Chair? And that was addressed with the police and with the security issue, because I entered the police station downstairs because it was left all open. So it just shows you, and he's addressed that with his superintendent. So they're struggling, and you're not going to get no enforcement, nothing from them at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going back to the members' playing field and the issues down there, this Saturday, the ladies, the girls under 12 match was held up because of a mess on the pitch. What can I say? Just selfish, inconsiderate people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We are in the public forum.
We are still in the public forum, yes. We're about to wait a little while, we do apologise.
Oh dear. I did request an update on the new cemetery through the new website for the following reasons. First of all, Church Road. When an event is happening at the church, cars are parked along the road, the path is very narrow, and cars parked slightly onto the path, therefore causing problems for mobility scooters, pushchairs, pedestrians. I'd like to put forward a suggestion to help ease the problem. Perhaps a one-way system would be viable. I have mentioned this in the past, and nothing has been done. Please could you give this solution some thought? Secondly, our little car park at Manor House Close, again, when there is a big event, we have problems. For example, last week, 5 cars parked in our car park, causing residents to go elsewhere until the car park is cleared. Also, parking on our grass, which seems a bit petty, but when we pay £9,000 a year for ground maintenance, we get a bit cheesed off. We do have a sign that states residential car park only, but due to verbal abuse we have received in the past, we do not approach anyone who parks there. We have disabled residents at Manor House Close who only want to go home, not sit elsewhere waiting. Now, I believe the new cemetery that is proposed will have parking facilities. Please could that be confirmed? And if this is the case, would it be possible to have this area done first? I'm trying to find solutions to the problems and would appreciate you giving these suggestions some thought. If the new cemetery does go ahead, could also the apple tree that is there, could that be kept as well? And could you also tell me Why is the cemetery taking so long to be sorted out?
Yeah, good one.
I'll come on that one. So I can confirm there is car parking going to be allowed. It's part of the conditions we have to sort of follow now. So it's definitely going to have a car park, and that is one of the conditions when the work commences, or at some point maybe, you don't know. It will. That is one of the conditions to start with. That will, before that site can be used, the car park has to be there. Really. So that's how I've read through it. The car park has to be in place. So that will be sort of one of the first things on the agenda to do when that work does commence. And the time delay is, there is a little bit about it a bit later on, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's within the hands of companies that are doing a lot to do with the planning and all of them sort of things, water tables. There's quite a lot involved, and there's quite a lot, as I'm sure the town clerk can agree, it's giving him a headache. So it's just taking a little while for them to do their bit. So they've given us a time sort of scale how long they're going to be to finish theirs, which is not too far away, and then we can look at going, then things should speed up a little bit.
The new tubes that have been put in there, and some of them have been vandalised by youngsters on there.
Yeah, I think they were for a test.
They're just for filtration test. That's all they're there for.
I think they were there for when they done the test.
Our boreholes are locked.
Yeah, I've been noticed. Yeah, they have been vandalised and things that have gone in. But I would appreciate if something could be done temporary, so that residents in that car park were getting really fed up with it, because we're having to go elsewhere and wait for the car park to be cleared. Now, a service could be 20 minutes, could be half an hour. And really, that car park is private, and it does say so on the sign. Now, Samfire are not interested in doing very much about it. And we can't approach people because of the verbal abuse we've had. Is there something that could be done temporary?
Can I suggest that you have a word with the vicar?
We have done so.
That's all you can do. I mean, it's not, the council can't do very much. We will, as the chairman said, we will have a car park,
yeah,
considerable car park in the new cemetery, which, you know, will be for people using it. But do you mean the bit behind by the garages? Where do you mean parking in your car park? Where's your
Manor House close?
Yes, but where exactly in Manor House?
Yeah, opposite the old schoolhouse.
Yes, I know. So it's the bit where that goes in.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we have very many, because I know they park on the grass opposite beside the old
on the
schoolhouse.
triangle, but
Yes.
I'm talking about our grass,
Yeah.
which we pay £9,000 for a year to be cut. But our car park is private and for residents
Yeah.
only.
I don't know how you've got to talk to the church about it, because it's.
We have done so. We have tried to exhaust every avenue, and we're about to get really fed up about it. Because they're elderly residents, and they shouldn't have to go off to Tesco's or somewhere, sit there for half an hour or whatever, waiting for them to get it back home. We did even try.
Pitchforks, rakes.
They park on the paths everywhere. But the church road one-way system would actually work. And it would be an
It
easy
won't stop them
solution.
parking there for funerals and that, though.
Sorry?
It won't stop them parking for
But
funerals.
if it's a one-way system, then there wouldn't be a problem of cars trying to meet each other, overtaking parked cars.
If you made that a one-way system and there's an accident in the London Road, there's no way around it. If the London Road gets blocked by an accident,
They won't be coming down Church Road for an accident in London Road.
no, but the rat run that goes round Manor Road, that is the only way to bypass the London Road should it get blocked.
I can't see that because that's backed right up. If you're talking about the actual time of the rat run, that is actually backed up right the way down Manor Road.
Past the apple tree.
Yeah, I know. But my point is,
wanting to get down there,
if you make that one way, you've got a problem. If you get an accident that blocks the London road, there's nowhere for them to go. Or only one way, anyway.
They looked at that.
St. Peter's
Yeah.
approach.
I mean, there's other roads.
It's not the town council that can implement one
Yeah,
way
that
systems.
is the thing on that, we do struggle, we haven't really got any power, it's not really the way to put it. So, but I've got a little idea, I'll have a chat with you tomorrow, I need to make my way.
Thank you.
All right? Anybody else from the public?
Right, can I ask the council when a representative is going to come from the council back onto the Planfields Committee? We haven't seen a town council rep for 2 to 3 months, and we was told Louise resigned.
Have you resigned?
Yes. I haven't been.
I sent you an email when I first did it, and Councillor
Yes,
yeah, told you.
I heard, but I never saw anything.
No, but Alison Barnes moved.
There is a case of someone knowing, but not actually doing
Well,
anything.
Well, what we will, I can answer that one, Paul. Hang on. Wait 1 second. What was that?
Well, it was actually a private question to Lou.
Can I answer? I heard what Norma said.
Yeah.
All the questions what the town council have asked the Planfields about indemnity, insurances and everything else has been cleared, and Graham's got all the answers. He had them in August, before the August meeting, but it was sadly cancelled because of the Queen. So Graham has got all the paperwork with all the answers on.
But I didn't receive the bit about resignation, so I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, well, we've been left in the loop that you've got a gripe with us, but there's nothing coming to us to say what the gripe is.
What I will say, I will attend your meeting this month for you. Yeah, I'll do that, and then what we will do is sort that little bit out, and if we have to make something new, we will do that next week.
I'll go back if it's all okay.
Well, I'm sure they should.
Louise, we have been insured for the last, I should say, 10, 15 years.
I'll put my name forward, Chair.
I said, I will be told right, if it's all sorted, I will be back.
Louise, a lot of people are not going to understand the reasons behind it.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain to them? No.
So, the reason that I just gathered for what that is,
Yeah.
you were not, it was not clarified at the first point when it was asked if there was insurance
Yes.
for the trustees. It's now been clarified, you sent it through in August like you said, but by what Councillor Atkins said, she resigned before that moment, but for some reason we haven't received the, or Graham, we'll
Yeah,
get to the bottom
but
of that bit tomorrow.
insurance has always been in place for trustees. There's never been any question about that. It was only the way that the existing insurance had worded it. The insurance has just been renewed from the 1st of October. I've done all of that and I've insured, but it now has the word trustees in the insurance.
Right.
And I'm coming into Brandon on Thursday and I'm going to bring Graham a copy of the schedule, so he will have that. Okay?
Yes,
Just to clarify, where a representative of the council sits on the committee of the playing field, they are automatically trustees as well. Am I right?
Yes.
And that, I think, is the anomaly where you were probably worried that you were a trustee and are responsible for it, and you didn't take that responsibility on initially because all you were was a representative of the council.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is whoever gave Louise that information was incorrect, and I wish they'd asked me the question first.
Yeah.
The phlebotomist at Forest Surgery, I've had blood taken there twice in the last 2 months. My mother's had blood taken there twice in the last 2 months. If you say to that surgery, I can't go to Bury, Milton or Newmarket, they will make an appointment there. It's only because they could send you somewhere else that they are doing this.
because I asked the question, because my mum has got a bit of dementia coming on, and I said, well, you can't, Mum, there's no blood being done. And when I found the doctors, the receptionist told me that it's only if you can't make it, you're sent somewhere else. So,
Thank you.
anybody else down the public before we move back into the meeting?
Oh, I know they will.
Okay, very quick.
High Street will, yeah.
Well, two items. Aren't you still on, as a rep for the remembrance?
No,
Not for the
he's not
council.
the council.
I thought you was.
He's
Okay.
West Suffolk.
And the other thing was, you say about the, dolphins not being replaced. Well, how is it that Thetford Town Council are replacing theirs with brand spanking new ones with extra ones all around the town? If Thetford can do it, I'm sure Brandon Town Council.
Because it's Norfolk.
Norfolk.
I know it's Norfolk.
There's no-
A lot of areas aren't.
They're about £500–600 each.
Oh, I can't believe that. Well, they should take an air car for that.
It's not,
Huge
it's
change.
not
My
just,
car, and I feel it was double of them.
it's not just the £500 or £600 each, it's the fact that they have to be emptied every week, it's the servicing costs. If you look at all the standard rubbish bins around the town, the black ones, they've all got a dog sign on them. It's now, there's no point in having those special ones.
The dog bins are emptied Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, 3 days a week. The black ones are only emptied once a fortnight.
I've already lost it.
Right, okay, right, we're going to resume the meeting, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, item number 9, correspondence. You've all seen it. Any comments on it? Anybody else comment on it?
Yes, I didn't eat the biscuit.
Yeah, hear it, you know.
Okay. Item number 10, the accounts. To approve the payment of September 2022. I'll propose. Billy's going to second.
It's right there.
I'll ask the
That's another hour, John.
Right. 11th of August,
Oh,
photocopier, copies. All one down. Right, £1,275, right, Aura Limited.
Yeah.
Now we had, on the 17th of May, Aura Limited, photocopier, copies, £259.50. Then, another unusual thing, on the 7th of August, you got Siemens, photocopier, quarter rental, £614. How is it that Aura doesn't do the quarter rental and vice versa? Why isn't Siemens doing photocopiers?
Just ask us at any time on the phone.
Machine from one company and the other company
You
looks
could have
after
asked
the
us at
service.
any time.
Yes, it should have.
Right. So how is it that on the 11th of August, we've got £1,275 for copies?
Right, I can answer that one, it's because we did a flyer, handout, for an event, I can't remember which one it was, but we did, I think we did about 5,000.
Demonstration bank.
Jackie,
Yes,
how many was it we did, 5,000?
for the, I wasn't here, but I heard that it was
Yeah, about
5,000.
5,000 copies we did.
And that's the reason why it's £1,000 more.
The more you use it, the more
Yeah.
expensive it
Yeah.
That's what it
We
is.
get
Even though you
allowance.
have a rental, even though you pay a rental, you pay
It's
the
the fee.
you know what?
should be asked for.
Wrong way.
Oh, right, every.
Not
every-
everyone, we get an allowance, but when we go over that allowance, we have to pay.
Can I say that the whole point of the notice on the agenda, that if you've got questions, you ask them of the clerk before the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to a vote. Those in favour of the accounts? Against? Item number 11, to receive income and expenditure statement against the budget for June, July and August. Okay, we'll receive those. Okay, item number 12, grant applications. You can say the third one. We'll do it in order of consider grant applications from the S137 grant for the Royal British Legion and the Brandon, first Brandon Scout Group. So we're going to do the Royal British Legion first.
Can I question whether it's not been withdrawn because we've made alternative arrangements?
It has not been withdrawn.
But I suggest we defer it because we've made arrangements and we've come to an agreement with the refreshments for the to considerably less than this.
This isn't sort of.
I will explain this. So this application was obviously put in for September, obviously because of what the Queen, we couldn't have a meeting as such. So this was deferred till this month, which has to be. But in the meantime, the British Legion approached us and we've had a meeting. We've had a meeting to discuss today how, just so we can clarify exactly what their needs are and everything like that. And this subject was brought up in there, and there was an agreement that we would we've got to fund it anyway. We would give the allowance to the British, I think, is it the British Legion Club?
It's the social side, yes, they're doing
social side of
catering, yeah.
something for a very minimal figure.
Sorry?
Something to do with catering.
Yes, to do the catering,
Yes, the catering. And anything else that involves expense for the Remembrance Sunday, which is the road closure stuff and the refreshments.
Yeah, well, are we voting in debating the £400 or not?
I would vote we defer it because we can't.
I think we should.
Can't
Yeah.
pay money we've already arranged to deal with the same problem on the day. We've arranged the catering already for them. I think this was put in prematurely.
It was.
Well, we'll just have to take your advice here because none of us.
Yeah, no, it was between the clerk and the.
Well, I think what's happened here is a select few around this table know the details, whereas we haven't been informed. I'm only looking at the agenda and I can only judge what we're doing tonight, what's in front of me.
Yeah, I think it was to do with, because it was done under the events, because it's an event, it was done through that side of things. So, and that was just because we're having to run the event now, which we haven't done completely in the past. We're now going to take this on more full-time, more whole day. So the meeting happened once this has been submitted, and that was discussed, and that was the agreement was come to in that meeting.
And June was present, weren't you?
June was present in that one, yeah. That's part of the British Legion.
Yeah, but I think it would have just been pertinent had an email been buzzed around all of the table just to inform them what
this
was going on.
You had asked the British Legion would they like to withdraw this, and now we've had no reply. So we have to leave it on.
No, I mean the agreement that's already been made.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have hurt to send an email around just to inform us of what was going on.
No, I was going to say something actually.
Yeah, you can say something too, and then we'll let the meeting go.
So I just want to clarify the meeting we had with the Royal British Legion. So Graham was concerned that this event has now become completely under the auspices of Graham Town Council. The relevance of that is that it comes under their insurance, so there's various things that have to be done in order to allow for a parade. And the town keepers, two of them were sent to be able to close the road. So we had a separate meeting with the British Legion's representatives, including the applicant for this grant, Gary Coffin, who came for a short time, and the route and all the details were discussed with Graham as in charge of organising the event. And also it was agreed at the time that Penny would then organise with the social club the actual refreshments afterwards. she was left to arrange it, so it would be this minimum. That was all agreed at the time, so I was quite surprised to see that this application was still on the agenda, as you said, and if you hadn't been withdrawn, then that's how it was there. So it would have been an event, and you heard us discuss it before, with squadron leader theory that he's only on a representative. So that's the kind of history of what we've done.
It does beg the question why we have, how many councillors? 14 of us?
Well, this was
This was
an
part of
event,
it.
it's done for an event.
It was done through an
Team.
event.
It was done for the councillors on the event.
And there are events.
And there is only very few of us at the moment.
Yeah, and there's events minutes put in packs each time. So this event meeting.
This event has been thrown on us recently.
Yes,
We'll
it
do a
missed,
lot more.
just missed the pack. The
Right.
full council meeting.
Okay.
And does any of this interest, because I see we have Gary Brocklehurst here. Now I know that he rattles a few people's cages, and I'd like to remind everyone that you're here not to be biased in any way, no matter what that individual does to upset anyone.
Shall I just said that he came, he was asked to attend, he came, he chose, he was here a short time and he left.
Yep.
So he was here, he was part of the committee, and it was his application. He's not here tonight.
He's
so-
not, no.
So we can only, I can only tell you he was part of it, as a member of the events committee, and June and I were there.
And, yeah, June,
I should have been
and
behind.
Dean and
Yeah, but once again, I know very little in relation to this, because as you just clearly stated, there's a lot of councillors around the table that still don't, because it was run under as an event, granted. But therefore, is that fairly, are we going to make a decision when not all council know all the ins and outs?
We just had them explain to you that it's
Yeah, I know,
been.
they've explained.
They've got the approved expenditure.
No, I didn't know either.
That's what they've asked
I'm at the last chair. Are we voting on this or?
I think we should defer it.
Yeah.
I don't want to vote against it because
He's not
there's
withdrawn.
no reason
We
to vote
can't.
against it.
No.
Well, will they have their 400 quid if they need it?
Well, if they come back and it's needed for something, we can vote on it for.
No.
We, in theory, the catering is, that side of the civil reception is covered at the moment.
I've actually had a word with Nikki down there to do the refreshments
At
at Upper Legion, and she'll do them for £120. So I said, yes, please, go ahead.
Because it comes, sorry. I was going to say, well, it becomes under the whole part of the event, organising the whole event.
Yeah,
As an event.
it's a part of, yeah.
It's part of it.
well, then I would agree with you.
Can't see we should be, can't say twice.
Do we vote to defer or we leave this defer? Have you got some?
Just defer.
Not if I just defer, if I can just defer it, I'll defer it. Yeah.
Oh, you can just defer it.
We'll defer it.
Let's defer then. We
Yeah,
can
let's
decide.
defer it, and then if it comes back, we can have a look at it again if they need.
Yeah.
Well, it's worse than pulling teeth. It's worse than pulling teeth.
Yes,
this.
what we on
And we're all talking about the pay. Yeah, I'll see somewhere in here, £225, it was cancelled, you voted against it. Somewhere in here it says £225 about the catering.
Yes.
But this grant does not say anything about catering. And I'll quote what it says here, the grant is for the civic part of the Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
It's the civic
Headquarters
reception.
rules state we are not allowed to use branch funds for this purpose, which we have in the past. A further application of the RBL handbook now means that the local authority is responsible for the parade day with the Legion assistance. And it says about we have representatives for makeshift Queen Name and all that.
And at the end, the last sentence, it says, with most of the town's organisations, we're invited to the Legion Club to toast the Queen and have a small reception.
Yes, but this basic bit, what it says, they can't use their own money, it has to come from the local authority,
Yes.
£400.
We have to, it's what we
Yes.
pay,
Through the
it's
chair,
the,
Penelope.
Yes.
Through the
So what,
chair.
Peter, they were asking for £400 originally, but we have managed to negotiate and get that down to a lower figure, so we can save the town some money. Which I think is a good thing. We're getting the same thing at the end of it.
If you defer this, this is for the
No, no.
Remembrance Day,
No,
it's 13th of
It's
November.
not
we've
deferred.
got it covered.
We are running the whole event.
They want him on the Remembrance
As it
Day.
says in there, they're not allowed to do it. So we are running, so all them bits in there, we are covering. Yeah? Because that was put in before they come and had a meeting with us. Yeah?
Next. Aren't you glad you
Okay,
And you're glad you came back.
okay, so we'll move on to the first brand Scout Group application. I think David's just going to leave for this second.
No, we don't. Have you finished with that?
Yes.
What's for that?
Yeah, they're only effective.
Can you look at that very road one?
Yes.
Let me get clear of them.
That's
Well,
fine.
there's too much on it on single paper.
Question, why did the gentleman leave?
Don't know.
He wanted to.
Because he's not on my committee.
Um,
He's nothing to do with Brandon
we haven't
Scout.
asked him to leave. He has put that in the book as his choice.
Just asking,
He
because
can't
it's
ask him.
nothing to do with me.
He has said it's because there is, I think the reason he told me was because he's on the plan.
But we're not part of Brandon.
Because there is rent paid under it's his choice, it's totally up to him. We can't, I can't force him back in the room.
No, just a question.
It's absolutely fine. So this, can we stop talking? Okay. So we've got the grant application to the first round of Scout Group. Providing disability access and facilities at the headquarters, which is down on the playing field. So have we got a representative? I think you're on. Would you like to make a representation?
Yeah, I represent the Scout Group. My name's Tony. I am the Group Scout leader there. I'm also Deputy District Commissioner for Bury St Edmunds West Suffolk Scouts. And we are after some funding to allow our building to be upgraded so that we can entertain people with disabilities. Because currently our building falls foul of any access, whether it's to, from the building or internally of the building, for anybody that has a disability. And we know with modern laws and plans that all buildings open to young people have to have those facilities to allow them access. And as Scouting is open to all, we're very, very keen to make that right. Is that it? Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions? Please ask questions.
Yes.
Yes. Councillor Kenny.
Well, this question is to the clerk. Oh, and what is our balance in section 103.7 of council?
137.
137.
He says all the right numbers, but not necessarily in the right
Right.
Right, that's 103. We have got, approximately 10
Thank you for that, Chairman. Graham. Well, I mean, obviously, most of our reaction is that that's an awful lot of money, considering we've only got £10,000, so that would wipe out 75% of our balance. And there's still quite a few people will come forward. But that's not to say that the Scout setup is not a noble cause. In fact, as district councillors, we have contributed on one or maybe two occasions to the Scout Hut with renovations. So we have assisted them. As a town councillor, we're going to have to talk figures tonight, whether you like it or not. In my opinion, we can't afford £7,500 for the upgrade of the disability down there. I think we can pledge £1,000 on the condition that people come forward and pledge X amount of pounds so that the balance is £7,500. That's how it works on locality funds. They won't release the money until the pledges are all in place, because then what can happen, you can spend that £1,000 on something else because you have not got the money to do the whole scheme. So there, I can't add any more to than that. Next year, we would be in a position as district councils to contribute to the Scout movement. At this moment in time, our funds are not looking that good, and we will be replenished in April. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Richard?
I would like to propose that we offer them 4,000. It would leave us with enough. We don't know what's coming in, but I think it's very important to support the young people. And I think 4,000 or any other suggestion, it will give them something to start with anyway.
And it would also
Can
leave us
can
something.
I speak? Because when I took over Brandon Scout Group 3 or 4 years ago, there were 6 beavers, 8 cubs, and 4 scouts. It was dilapidated, it was run down, the building was a shambles. I now have 30 beavers, 30 cubs, 28 scouts. We're in need of opening further sections to accommodate our waiting lists. We have won the district award for the best scout group in West Suffolk. And the only way for us is to take it forward. We want to open the section for the 4 to 6 year olds, which is now called squirrels. We want to open our own dedicated, quiet scouting section to accommodate those young people that struggle with sound and noise, and we want to engage with them. I need leaders, I need people, I need building that's safe and secure. And part of that is the help from you guys. I'm not asking for all of it because I know that you're never going to give me all of it. It's got to be part of a plan. And if I'm going to open and make Brandon better than it already is, then I need your support.
We're not disputing what you just said. We're not disputing. We only have a certain amount in the kitchen.
I understand that.
There's other organisations. Now you've got here that you've applied from the Tesco community. Got a question mark for £3,000. Have you had a reply from those people?
No, not at all.
No. And the cooperative, you asked for £5,000 and they put a no.
And they've said no.
Any other organisations have you tried?
Try the community chest. I think it's closed now, actually.
It's closed.
Yeah.
It's closed, yes,
Yeah.
I did try that one, yeah.
So did you try the Tesco's again?
The only thing that we can get any money from for them is the little boot open boat thing in the store, which is a maximum of 1,000. And we did do that last year and we got 500.
Yeah, we came up against, no offence, we came up against the national organisation of the British Red Cross, which we were never going to win against.
No, no, not given the circumstances.
And is there anything sort of like from the Scout organisation out for you to say to help you?
Each Scout group is independent of itself. So we have to fund and battle our way through everything we do individually. We have support, and there is now a fund within the district to help us support disability young children and providing additional help for them. But as for our buildings, our structure, our programme,
Yeah, I read that already.
It's all down to us.
What about oldies? Have you tried oldies? We're a supermarket people.
No.
We have a long list of people to go through in the next 12 months. I'm not saying that this project is going to happen tomorrow.
No.
It is something that
So
we know that we've got to put in place. We've got to start and we've got to plan and we've got to look what we want, what we need, and how can we take that forward.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Councillor Ridgewell did actually preempt what one of the questions I was going to ask of you, sir, which is how in other ways are you raising money?
Sorry.
Sorry?
I didn't hear a question.
Oh, right. Councillor Ridgewell preempted what I was going to ask over the Tesco's and the co-op, but what other ways do you look to raise money
we look at doing individual fundraising committee, which we've now set up, which will go out there in the community and literally raise funds through card boots, bring and buy, raffles, whatever we can do. Yeah, we've now got that in place. We will be looking at funds from organisations, we will be looking at councils, we will just be looking everywhere.
Back in my day, Scouts did Bob a job.
Yeah, Pete, we're not allowed to do that anymore.
Now you're giving your age away.
Yeah, I was there too. No, we're not allowed to do that because of the DBS rules. We can't have young people associated in that event.
Does rather look to me, I mean, I think everybody would be in favour of supporting the Scout group. It's just down to the amount that we can actually afford at this time. Yeah.
Feel free.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, we can accept donations in any way we can, and of course we'll be having a separate account for raising funds for this purpose. I have people now that come in quite often. We had one last Christmas that came in and gave us £100 to buy something for the young people for Christmas.
Oh, it was the gardening, because they wanted to do some gardening in the compound, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, sir. You said earlier that you don't expect the full amount. You've had an offer of 1,000. You've had an offer. Well, another council says 4,000. What is ideally the cost, the real bottom line that thing you need to get you going?
Trouble is, everything is going up. Everything is going up. So
added 500. Yeah.
So at the present moment, I would take £1 because it's a start in the right direction. What I want is $1 million, because I would knock the whole thing down and start again. But I've got to be realistic.
So you're okay. So I suggest, Chair, that we just you all come up with a figure. And well, Kenny said 4. Victor said 1,000. Why not just half it? Make it a million.
Somebody needs to second one of them.
Right.
I propose 4.
I second.
Voting?
So you're voting on the 4 one?
Yeah.
Come on, Becky, put your hand up.
Well, we voted, are we?
Why would you be against that?
Hurry up, now I'm
So we're voting on giving 4,000.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So those in favour of giving 4,000.
God, do count.
Okay. Those against that? Those against that proposal? Those abstaining from that proposal? Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor said we'll call him back when we get to item 15. He said so. We've got item number 13 is to note the minutes of the events committee. We just have to note those, and the same. We just have to note that.
We get Palmer again.
Yeah, you can go on the 3 step.
Palmer.
You've got to stop smoking, yeah?
Chair, may I say something? I can't find it now, but I've read about the football teams being asked to play earlier.
Yes.
I think that's all been arranged a month or 2 ago.
Oh, thank you.
So they will have no games. They will have no games at that time.
Okay. Item number 14 is to note the minutes of the planning meeting held on the 1st of August, 5th of September, and the 3rd of October. There's no vote. Just note that we don't comment on them. That's how it works. Sorry. Okay, so item number 15 to discuss, formulating comment on the planning application.
We moved on quickly, Dave.
Sorry, David.
As long as he doesn't say.
No,
These,
it's fine.
Okay, just quiet, please. So planning application DC/22/1297 for development site at the old Brandon Library site, Ferry Road, Brandon. Now we have hit 9 o'clock. I think this is sort of an issue because of time constraints. I feel we should move just at least get this bit done, even if the rest could be deferred to the following meeting. But this one, I think, is with time constraint on the application needs to be discussed. So as long as everybody's in agreement, I'll propose we carry on to do item number 15. And then we, as long as everybody will come to a decision after that. The rest of it just goes to the next meeting. I don't see it coming back again. Yeah. So is everybody in agreement? I'll propose we just carry on just to do item number 15, and then we'll defer the rest of the bits just through to the next meeting. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll propose complete item 15, and then we'll defer the rest of the.
Have you not got a couple of items in the confidential bit that need dealing with?
Brian was shortly.
Thank you, hang on, love.
Well,
Just no, it's 10 minutes.
oh, yeah, okay.
Can you just sit down, please?
Thank you.
Yeah. Can't help the lady, yeah?
Okay, so yeah, so the proposal I'm proposing is we discuss number 15, because it's an application with a time constraint on it, and then we defer everything else on to the next meeting. Yeah, you seconded that one, so we're going to vote on that.
The update of the new cemetery, we really do need.
Yeah, which we're going to be here a little while.
We're here that long, Chair, why don't we just carry it through? Unless there wasn't prior motion, just get it done.
It's item number 15.
Just get it done, I would say, just get it flash out.
Do this one first and then.
Well, let's do item 15 and get it out.
No, they're not going to do it.
Bob?
No,
Over to you.
no, thank you.
Thank you. You're planning.
Maybe. But I'll be resigning in 30 seconds if you do this again. The site of the old community centre, library, call it what you will. I've had a lot of people come to me and complain that it's overpopulated, lack of car parking, and this, that, and the other. So I would be obliged if somebody give me their opinion.
I think,
Okay.
I think the sensible bit, one of the things I think is a problem is the access. I think that is not at all good. It is rather overdeveloped. I think, that's it. The urban design response, I thought, said it all.
Yeah. That did say it all.
Yeah, exactly.
The urban response.
The urban design response, it's in the pack.
Behind
Behind the pretty coloured plan.
Got it.
Bloody complex issue to deal with.
It is so complex.
It's a complex issue to deal with this time of night.
Okay, we'll let Councillor Kenny while we're discussing that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, firstly, I don't know why this wasn't heard Monday night. We had 3 issues at planning Monday night. A planning meeting took 20 minutes, right? This has been put on a full council meeting, which was bolted up because September meeting was cancelled. And now we're dealing with this after 9 o'clock at night. We're hot, we're bothered, we're frustrated. This should have been dealt with at plan. And I blame the chairman of planning for bringing this to full council. There's 8 quite capable people on the planning committee.
Hey, excuse me, since when did I move it? Well, you've just accused me of something.
Through the chair. You're not shouting your mouth off at the end of the table like that through the chair. You should have brought this to the planning meeting. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to an opinion. And if you want to say something, go through the chair. Do it in a civilised manner. I will continue, Mr. Chairman, and I must apologise for fellow councillors' behaviour. This planning, this planning application is the third time that's been submitted to West Suffolk Council. And they're trimming it every time that's gone to West Suffolk Council, that's being trimmed. That started off at 27 units, that's now at 20 units. You say the density is excessive. We don't work out the density. West Suffolk Council works out the density, and they have been in conversation and consultation with the developers. The density is no worse than Nappers Way, which is to the east, and that's no worse than Warren Close, which is to the west. So they're getting quite close to getting this passed. And these are starter homes, by the way. And I mentioned earlier tonight, there's 460 people on the housing list in Brandon. And a lot of people sitting around this table are not aware of the concerns of people in Brandon because you haven't had to knock on their door and ask them their opinion for a vote. You haven't been voted. That's why you have not, you're remotely connected with what's going on in this town. I have spoken to a man who owns 2 properties next door, in the development next door, and that's called, what's it called, the development next door? Where they put 8 houses in there. Anyway, Green Glades? Yeah. Yeah. Two homes in there which run adjacent to the fence. He has no objection to the development. I mean, the chairman has recently said a lot of people have come to him and complained about this. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us shortly how many people. My only concern with this, and I'll echo Councillor Penny's concerns, Councillor Edmondson concerns, the fact the road is narrow. It needs to be widened. The developer needs to go to West Suffolk Council and get a meter from West Suffolk Council and make it wider. Point 1, I'm sure the chairman of planning and others have been down there this weekend and you've got to the bottom of that road and you will agree that one of the lime trees on the left-hand side needs to come out. I'm sure you've been down there. After all, you're down around here tonight debating the planning application. That's my only concern. So I personally will support this application on the condition that the road is widened. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right, living in the immediate area, the access to the ferry route is going to be dangerous because it's right on the bend and there's a zebra crossing right slap bang in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Now, we've already had the results from Councillor Whiteman about parking on that very road, and there's going to be a line coming there. But the traffic coming down there, when you exit that area, you are blind on the bend to the traffic. That is going to be a problem if you put these amount of homes in there, and also with what is already there, what we call the green bays on the other side, you've got to have a lot of traffic going down that road. I don't object to the homes being there, but the access onto Berry Road, unless they do something about it, is going to be dangerous because just to the right you've got doctor's surgery, you've got the crossing. There's been accidents already on that crossing through speeding traffic down Berry Road. People are saying the police won't do nothing about it. So, you know, that's in a funny situation. It needs to be looked, the exit for this needs to be looked at, that needs to be replanned by Suffolk County Council. I'm surprised that if they want this, they've not looked at it properly, because they obviously haven't. I mean, as for right now to sit behind the chairs in Suffolk County Council, they don't live here. They don't see what happens. But that exit is bad, and you are blind to come out there, and you see cars coming out there every day, and you see near misses. And it's all because you cannot see up Berry Road.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick one. we've got a planning committee, yeah? Correct? What is the purpose of the planning committee?
View plans like this, sorry, may I answer, John? To view plans like this, and I wholeheartedly support what Councillor Kenway said. We were in the planning committee meeting Monday night of this week.
20 minutes.
20 minutes there. This should have been heard then.
Right, sorry. So what I was getting at, Chair, is we and Chair of Planning is when you hold a planning committee. I'm pretty sure I sat on it before. Where Suffolk had the overall say. I remember sitting there. We disagreed with something. It seems like, no offence, a waste of time. Whether other things that were in the planning committee probably haven't been presented here, have they? Not everything you discussed. So I'd say, if you can, Chair, just move on with this. If they vote, they deal with that in the committee, or dismiss the committee and we do it all as full council. Because I'm unaware of, I'm now looking at an information pack that I really don't want to vote or say on, quite frankly, because I haven't had enough time. Otherwise, I'd join the planning committee.
Well, didn't you get it on your?
On my email, yes, I did, Penny, but unfortunately I work and I don't have a lot of time to, go through it. But I've got my pack here presented to me now, and I could have, but what I'm saying is I'll join the planning committee and then I get more time to have a look at this information to make a good judgment. I think it needs to be just moved on.
The bingo came in way out.
So I'm just saying, I would not like to pass any more judgment on something I haven't had a chance to look at.
It's local knowledge, not them make a decision. And what Stephen was saying about it.
I was pushing
that sort of information.
Yeah,
we were touring. We
Send
were
up
the
to
planning
the
committee.
so that they're can, take that into consideration.
Chairman, I would just like to carry on from what Councillor Moore said, and I agree there will be quite a bit of use on that road. But when we used to meet up there for public meetings, etc., and I've been in those meetings where there's been 200 people in that hall at the community centre, and there's been 100 cars in the car park, right? We used to manage them, so with 20 houses up there, with perhaps 2 or 3 cars per house, which would come out around about 100 cars, perhaps less, possibly, probably less. I think it's doable if you make the road wider and you get rid of the last lime tree, which restricts vision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly support this. It is much needed accommodation for Brandon. There are apartments and dwellings. They are, as we all know, starter homes, greatly needed. There are over 460 odd people on our own waiting list. And that's before you count all the ones that have not been able to get on the list because they say there's no point putting you on it. We desperately need housing. The Suffolk Highways Department will no doubt look closely at egress and ingress to the site through off of the Berry Road. All we need to do is approve it because we need the houses and put a rider saying that the access road and access on the London Road needs to be looked at. They are not fools. They know how to look at these things. They don't just sit behind desks and don't look because they.
Sorry, I disagree there.
Well, I can assure you they do look.
Well, I mean, the comment about, yes, there used to be perhaps 100 cars up there if you're lucky, but we didn't have the Pelican Crossing there at that time either. That was not there. But, I mean, there's been, as Councillor Whiteman pointed out, there's been accidents there. He's asked to try and get yellow lines put up there to stop cars parking, etc., etc. It is a blind entrance. I'm not objecting to the homes being there. I do object to what's going to happen. Across the road, you've got the school. That's going to be a hell of a spot first thing in the mornings. And that road layout needs to be looked at. I mean, I don't object to the houses going, I'm fully for that. but I do object to, unless they do something about the rules, i.e., it says take the tree down, well, that'll take 5 years to take the bloody tree down. I mean, you know what it's like. I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's all I say, the exit out of there is bad.
I believe they actually, one of the reasons why they turned it down before was because of the access onto the ferry road. I'm pretty certain.
Well, I'll follow this development, and I haven't seen that, but perhaps council.
It was, I'm sure.
Council Everton produces the evidence, so perhaps change my mind on that. The first time they refused it was because there was a big block on the left-hand side, and they had quite a few complaints on that. The second application, because there was cabins, about 26, 27 cabins, which was out of keeping of what there is at the moment. Now they've come back with these brick built, traditional built places, 20 places, start homes, which, may I add, and I will repeat, Brandon desperately needs start homes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would just repeat, if I may, that highways will look, and they will make their suggestions, and if they don't think it's feasible, they would reject.
You're asking us, you're asking us, planning committee, to put our comments, it's basically all we're doing, really, you know. I mean, you know, I agree, you need homes, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that, yes, we agreed for the homes, but there needs to be a revisal put on there that they seriously look at that entrance.
We can do that.
I mean, you've got mums and kids all walk through there in the morning to school, there's everything around there. Plus you've got the extra where the new houses along at the back, was the back of the fire station. And that will be a very, very busy entrance because we're already talking about the site, the Bingo Hall site and access for cars out of there, which is only to be sort of minimum cars. With that lot in there, you're going to have a lot of trouble with parking.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Moore, I am assuming that you will vote for the application on the condition that they do something about the road.
Really?
Well, can I make a proposal, Mr. Chairman, that we vote for the application on the condition that highways improves the road?
I would second that.
Well, I've got a second there.
So we're voting on the application as long as highways.
Yes.
Deals with the access.
Bearing in mind we desperately need houses.
I don't think anybody's against houses, we're all talking about with the entrance. The entrance from Warren Close.
That's not the application.
No, you know.
Or we could just stick it in the middle anyway. We're talking about this, we get slightly sidetracked. Can we just get on with this? Get in.
No, I'm still using the, obviously.
We vote on what is in the pack.
Yeah.
Your vote? Your vote?
Yeah, let's vote. Those in favour of that proposal, which is to approve the minutes, but with the roadway being sorted. Yeah?
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, go on. Against? Oh, so 1 against. Abstentions.
Okay, so I'm going to vote for the stop things on. Yeah, so I'm going to propose that we suspend the meeting and finish the meeting now. And as the clerk has assured me, there's nothing on any of the answers coming to. I can't wait till next month.
I second that.
Okay, we'll vote.
Hang on.
Mayor Phil.
What was the update on the cemetery?
Those in favour of
Waste of time.
finishing the meeting now. Okay, next month. Yeah. Bob? Against? Abstained?